Today we are going to start with a new topic, that is predicate logic for this particular lecture. Now predicate logic, in this we have already studied about the proposition logic. Now comes the predicate logic. Before starting up with the predicate logic, let's understand what predicate logic is actually. Predicate logic is a formal language in which propositions are expressed in terms of predicated variables and quantifiers, right? We will go through with the help of an example for this. This particular predicate logic is also called as first order logic, or it is also called as quantified logic. So these are the two other names for predicate logic. Now, why we are studying this particular predicate logic now, when we have already studied proposition logic? So let me tell you that predicate logic is superior to the proposition logic. That is why we need the predicate logic. Now in the concept how the proposition logic is inferior to the predicate logic, let's understand that why we need this predicate logic. First of all, in proposition logic needs to be augmented with more tools to enhance its logical abilities. That means in the proposition logic there are not much of logical abilities with the help of which we can work on in the real life or real world situations. In real world situations, the proposition logic falls short for its expectations. In proposition logic, events are symbolized as propositions which acquire either the true or the false value. Now, in proposition logic, we all know that it actually symbolizes any event. It symbolizes either the true value or the false value. In proposition logic, there is lack of quantifiers. We are going to study further in the further PPTs what are quantifiers. Quantifier is just a point where we can just quantify a particular variable or a value, in which we can define the in more quantified way. There are situations in real world where proposition logic falls short of expectations. I was telling you that at some places proposition logic is successful, but in the real world situations or scenarios, there are situations in which the proposition logic falls short of expectations. Now, was the theoretical part. Let's understand it with the help of a example. That would be help you in making it more clear. So let's take the example. We are considering the famous arguments. First argument, all men are mortal. Second argument is Aristotle is a man. So third will be what? Therefore, Aristotle is mortal. Now, these are the two arguments followed by a conclusion, right? These are two arguments, the premises, the facts, and this is what? This is the conclusion we are getting. Now, let us symbolize it with the help of proposition logic, the way we used to do in the proposition logic. How it was done? It was done, let's say A is what? All men are mortal. Let's say B is a statement in which Aristotle is a man. And the conclusion C gives that Aristotle is mortal. So what actually we are saying? We are saying A, the argument becomes A, comma B, therefore C. So does it actually make any sense? All men are mortal, Aristotle is mortal, and the conclusion we give is C, that is Aristotle is mortal. Now this is completely an invalid argument in the proposition logic, since A and B and C have no relations with each other. There is no relation of A with C and no relation with B. So that is what we are saying, that when we symbolize it in the proposition logic, it needs some more logical abilities to find out the actual logic behind it. So that is why we need predicate logic. You will get more clarification about it when we are going to do the predicate logic and understand it in the more conceptual way. Now see, what actually predicate logic have? Predicate logic is comprising of something more, which is lacking in the proposition logic. What are those? First thing is the constant. Second is the variables. Third, the predicates. Fourth, the quantifiers. And fifth, the functions. So we are going to study this one by one. What are constants, what are variables, what are predicates, what are quantifiers, and what are functions. So let's start with the constants. Now, what are constants? Constants are the ones which represents the objects, focus on this point, that do not change values. We all know in a basic concept what a constant means. Constant means object which has a specific value which is not going to change with the time, right? So that particular is called as the constant. It is going to represent the object. This you have to remember, and the value is not going to change. So the example is, let it be RAM, 100 degrees centigrade, pen, etc, etc. Now let's take the example in the concept of predicate logic. We have written likes, brackets, ram, comma, chocolate, bracket close. This is how we are going to write the predicate logics. So what does this mean? Actually, we are saying that Ram likes chocolates. We are saying Ram likes what? He likes chocolates. Okay, so this is how we are going to write it. Ram likes chocolates. Second example, we are taking plays, brackets, Sham, comma, cricket. What does this mean? It means Sham plays what? Plays cricket. Okay, so Sham plays cricket. Now, in these examples, what are the constants? The constants are Ram. Ram is the object, right? The value of the object is not going to change. Chocolate, again, chocolate is an object. The value is not going to change. Sham, again in this example, the object is Sham. And what it plays cricket, but is not going to change. It is specific. So Ram, chocolate, and Sham, and cricket. These are what? These are the constants in this example. So I think constant is clear to you. Moving further to the variables. Now, what are variables? We have seen already when we do programming also, sometimes we give constant values and sometimes we give variable. Variable means we can give any value to the that particular variable, and the value of that variable can change, right? As it is different from constant. So what is this? Variables, symbols which represent values acquired by the objects as qualified by the quantifier with which they are associated with. Example, x comma y. Now let's see, again we are taking an example, plays Ram comma x. Earlier we gave an example, Sham plays cricket, right? Now here the example is Ram x what plays. So here we can say Ram plays x. X is what? X is a variable in which it is going to represent certain value for the object. So it is a variable. The value can change or can vary. Next example, we have likes, braces, Sham, comma, y. Now what we are actually trying to say? We are trying to say Sham likes y. Now the value is represented in the y variable, and that can change. So basically in these above two examples, x and y are what? These are the variables which I am explaining you. Fine. Now moving to the third one, that is called as predicate. Now what is predicate? Predicate actually carries a name representing the association, followed by its argument representing the objects it is to associate. That means this whole example is what? It is a predicate. This is how we write the predicate. Likes, comma, Ram, comma, chocolate. Now what does this mean? It carries a name representing the association followed by its argument. The argument is Ram likes chocolate and the objects are Ram. So it is going to tell you the association. It is representing the association between the object and what it is associated to. So that is what the predicate is. So likes Ram chocolate, Ram likes chocolate, plays Sham cricket, Sham plays cricket, These are what? These are the predicates. These are the predicates. Okay. Now, in the next point, we have the functions. That is the fourth point. Functions are what? Functions represent association between objects. That means if we have two objects, what is the association point? What is the relation between these two objects? When I'm saying in this example, Ram and chocolate are the two objects. Now, what is the association or what is the relation between Ram and chocolate? The association is likes. Okay. Association is likes. Relation is what? Likes. Ram likes chocolate. In second example, we have Sham and cricket, in which what is the objects? What are the objects? Sham and cricket are the objects, and plays is forming the association between the two objects. So these two associations, that is likes and plays, what are these? These are the functions. So functions are what? Functions are representing the associations between the objects. All right. So represent association between the objects. Now moving further, we have a predicate. We have quantifiers. The fifth one. What are quantifiers? Quantifiers are predicate is what? Quantifiers are what? A predicate becomes a proposition when we assign it fixed values. Whenever we assign fixed values to the predicate, it becomes the proposition. However, another way to make a predicate into proposition is to quantify it. That means when we associate certain value for that particular predicate, it means we are quantifying it. That is, the predicate is true or false for all possible values in the universe of discourse, or for some values in the universe of discourse. See, we have known that in set theory, we have universe of discourse. And when we say that for all values, the predicate is true for all values in the universe of discourse, that means what? That means it is using all possible values. And when we say that only some values in the universe of discourse is true, that means we are using some. So what is this? This is forming the basic concept of two broad classification of quantifiers, that is all and some, where such quantification can be done in two quantifiers. That means quantifiers are divided into two parts or two classifications. One is called as the universal quantifier, and second one is called as the existential quantifier. Right? So what is universal? Universal is when all the predicate is true for all possible values, and existential is when the predicate is true only for some values in the universe of discourse. Let's understand it with the more detailed fact. See, that is what we have. Quantifier symbolizes or indicate two types of quantification. One is called as the universal quantifier. For universal, I mean to say all. All predicate are true in the universe of discourse. Existential quantifier, where I need to say some. Some means only few of the predicate values are true in the universe of discourse. So you can see all and some, they are defining the values, they are defining certain values to the predicate. So that is what the quantifier is, where it is defining the quantification, it is defining the quantity. All right. So let's understand the first one. What is universal quantifier? Universal quantification of Px, example we are taking, is the proposition in any of the following forms. Now, when I say that there is universal quantification of Px, what does this mean? It means Px is true for all values of x. Whatever the value of x is given, it is true for all. For all x, Px is true. For each x, Px is true. For every x, Px is true. Given any x, Px is true. All of them are what? All of them are true. Now, how to denote symbolically the universal quantifier is, this is the sign. You know, it is just a which is bottoms up, A, this is the symbol of, this is not A, this is opposite way of writing A. A, this is the universal quantifier symbol. So this quantifier, universal quantifier xpx is the way how we are going to symbolically denote the universal quantifier. Now, how do we pronounce it? We pronounce it as for all x, the px is true. For all x, px is true. The symbol, this one, universal quantifier, is called as the universal quantifier and can be extended to several variables. So this is what the universal quantifier is. Now moving to the existential quantifier. What is existential quantifier? Universal was where all the values are true for x value such that px is true. But here in the existential, it was sum, right? We were using the term sum. So existential quantification of px takes one of these forms. There exists an x such that px is true. So there can be certain x for which px is true. So we have written for some x, px is true. There is some x such that px is true. So how do we write it or how do we symbolize it? We symbolize it with the help of this symbol. Okay, this is the symbol used for existential quantifier. So existential quantifier xpx. How do we pronounce it? We pronounce it as there exists x such that px is true. That means there exists certain few values or some values of x for which px is true. So the symbol this existential quantifier is called as existential quantifier and it can be extended to several variables. So that is what the two types of quantifiers are, and with the help of quantifiers only, the predicate logic is said to be as superior than proposition logic, right? It helps you to work in the real life or real world situations where the proposition logic is falling short of the expectations. So the numericals or the examples we are going to do in the next lecture. I hope you must have understood this. Thank you very much.